What's up, everyone? Welcome back. And last video, I talked about what should the first battle song you get be, or if you're looking for a first battle song, what recommendations do you have? I personally have a lot of battle songs that I've tried and some that I haven't tried, but I know about that I could recommend. But there are some people who've also come to me and said, I have been out of the game for like 15 years, or I took a hiatus for like 5 years or whatever the fuck, and I don't know any of the current makers. I don't know what's good. I don't know who to trust. And so I decided that I'm going to also make a video about like what should my next battle song be. Maybe you're not brand new, maybe you have some experience flipping, but you want a good knife and you have some money, you have a budget. What's a good one to start with? First things first, I want to shout out balisongquiz.com, made by gavin.balisong, which is a pretty helpful resource for some people. There are also quiz tips which talk about the differences between a live blade, a trainer, sandwich versus channel, bushings versus non-bushings, and materials. I also have a YouTube series called like beginner's guide to battle songs, where I talk about like various elements of what these mean as well. So if you want a video version of that from me, check that out. So this quiz is pretty helpful. Let's say you're intermediate and you are looking for a live blade that, and you got a budget. Maybe you can do 100 to 300 bucks. Now you might not necessarily know about this, but titanium is a better material. But let's also look at aluminum, which is cheaper as well. Maybe you are indifferent. Personally, I don't care between channel and sandwich. I think that they were both fine. I do prefer bushings. And if you don't know, bushings are really nice. Anything that is washers only, I'm not a fan of. And bearings, I'm fine with, but a lot of people don't like bearings. I also don't really have a strong preference between Zen pins and Tang pins. So the first thing that comes up here is the Crake Raken, or the Cracker Racken. No one really knows how to say this. It used to be called a Kraken, and for like legal reasons they had to change this. The Cracker Racken is a battle song that is from Squid Industry. So you can get them through Blade HQ. A brand new Cracker Racken at its cheapest is like 250 bucks. However, everyone and their mother has a Cracker Racken 2.5 or had one at some point. The 3.0 versions are not necessarily on the market as often. However, what I'm talking about is the secondhand market. So if you're on Instagram, and yes, unfortunately Instagram, but there's also Reddit and Discord and Facebook groups. But the Facebook groups are all closed because otherwise there's just way too many scammers. You can go to at Balisong Market on Instagram and you can find basically a bunch of sales. There are, if you're looking for a specific knife, you can put on your story in search of or ISO Cracker Racken 2.5 for under $200 or whatever the fuck. And you will probably get some DMs from people who are trying to get rid of their Cracker Racken. And so you can really easily get a 2.5 for under 200, and they're really solid. I consider the Cracker Racken the gold standard. So if you have a budget and you want a live blade, it is aluminum. Some people don't like aluminum, but frankly, I think that at least the 3.0 feels pretty good. Here you also have other options like the Chalub, as we like to call it, or the Channel Aluminum Bare Bones Chalub. LDY Orion is like $100 flat, so I guess that's why I didn't show up earlier for her under 100. Then you have some. What? That's crazy. I did not know that you could get a discount for this. But you have some other options. Like I do like the Sirius. I do like the Amp. The Spy is a little weird, and so there's a lot of options. Like I don't recommend Atropos personally because I could go into like specific makers, but it gets kind of bogged. And so there's a lot of options here, as you can see. All of these I think are aluminum. I don't think. Okay, here is a Machinewise option. That actually takes me to my second thing. So some people don't know the current makers. I will say that Squid Industries is a reputable maker. Some of their products are maybe skew higher price than the cost it takes to make. There are definitely, especially products from China and other independent makers that charge less for similar products. Like the Cracker Racken is 250. The LDY Sirius I think is like 220 brand new, but you can also find them for less, and that's from China. However, I don't fault Squid Industry for charging how much they do because they are one of the few actual like companies with lots of people. So I think that's, I don't really have any judgment for that. So Squid Industries is a trusted brand. If you want trainers, the Cracker Rack and trainer. So as I mentioned, there's the live blade version, but there's also the trainer version. It's a little different. I think it's a little handle bias, which means that the handles are heavier, but that's just an option. Blade HQ has a lot of things, but there's also a lot of like brands. So some people don't necessarily know. Like when I was starting out, I was like, oh, what's in it? I see a lot of inexpensive things. Like there's Bear and Sons, and there's Bradley Kimura, and those aren't like bad knives as far as I can tell. I've never flipped one. The thing about those Balisongs is that they're not, to my knowledge, designed for flipping. They're more just knives that happen to be Balisongs. I could be wrong. But for the most part, I don't really see people talking about Bear and Sons, as affordable as they are, as good Balisong flippers. And so like that's just something that I was like trying to figure out, because I was like googling websites of like, oh, what Balisong should I get or whatever. Another helpful score, this is the BS score from Will Hirsch. Will Hirsch is you've probably heard of Will Hirsch if you've heard of me, but he's got a lot of really well produced videos. I recommend his content. He's a cool guy. Unfortunately, it's not really easy to find the BS score outside. I don't think it's linked on his website, but if you go to literally any of his videos, it's going to autoplay. Please don't autoplay. Please don't autoplay. Thank goodness. So if you go to any of his videos, you'll see down here the BS score right here in the middle. That'll get you to this list. And there's a specific, there's like a grading system: unboxing, tuning, durability, flippability, availability, and value. Availability is helpful because not everything is available. Some things are just one-offs, or they're just never in stock because it's a single batch maker. And then also value is like how good of a cost and the performance. Personally, I don't find unboxing as helpful, but it's good to know. Like some things have spare hardware. Like if your screws get stripped, do they come with extra screws and or extra washers? So that's like always nice. And then I guess tuning and durability. Like tuning is how well does your knife maintain its tune, or does it like eventually tap? But this is a pretty helpful list. This is something that I was looking at when I was first starting out. Now it doesn't. I don't think you can like. Maybe you can sort by price. Please. Okay. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, I'm not gonna fuck around with this. But here are some Balisongs. He has up to like 42 knives that he has covered, and he only does ones that he has specifically done full video reviews. I have, I think, like 150 videos at this point. And my opinion is different from his. Like we have different tastes. He is definitely a better flipper from me though, so I definitely think that there is a lot of value to like looking at this grade. And if you're like, oh, I heard about the iBass, it's like 560 brand new approximately. It's channel, bushing titanium, and then it's really, really durable. This thing is a tank. But the value, it is a bit pricey. So maybe, so if you're looking for like something that you might have heard of, it might be on this list. It's a rather limited list. The Bally quiz is also helpful for like saying like I'm looking for a specific type of Balisong. Now, if you're also someone with budget, I also have some other recommendations that I'm going to get to for titanium. But let's say we're looking for I'm an intermediate flipper. I am looking for a live titanium blade between 200 and 300 bucks. Let's see. Will it actually have anything in here? I do care about bushings, and I'm indifferent about these. Let's see if it'll actually show up with things. Oh, what the fuck? These are titanium? Okay. Frankly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't recommend Atropos. Atropos knives have like the worst tolerances. I've not flipped the Obsidian, but I have heard some good things about it, but you're like, might be. Now I do want to go into Machinewise. So the thing about Machinewise is that Machinewise is a maker that I'm pretty sure that if you were to be like, who is a brand that everyone trusts and likes? Every Balisong flipper will probably say Machinewise. Machinewise is another company starting to grow, similar to Squid Industries now. It used to just be one guy, but they're growing steadily. And the thing is, they have several different Balisong. Let's see, product breakdowns. So you can see that they have some other knives. The Seraph, the Opus, the Slifty V2, the Prisma Pro, and the Prisma. Now, that might not mean a lot to you, but I will say that the Prisma is I'm not a fan of the original Prisma, but it's a pretty affordable trainer at 140. However, the Prisma Pro I think is a much better value. You can get a pre-built version with speed channels at like 200. And you can get non-speed channel versions. If you don't know what a speed channel is, let me just flip back to me real quick. It's basically a big hole on the side of the Balisong. So here's a speed channel. Here is no speed channel. So the speed channel affects the sound as well as the grip, and of course the weight. So the Prisma Pro at 200, I think is a really solid deal. It is aluminum, but let's say you're looking for something with quality that is titanium. I think that the Slift TV2 is a Balisong of good quality that is like a mid tier. So the thing about Machinewise is that they switched to, here it is, building your own Balisong. So a Slift TV2 at its cheapest is 300. With no speed channel, you can get a live blade version for 370. That's really good. I also recommend, so the NRB Slight is a Balisong I don't think is currently going to be in stock for a hot minute because, actually, funny enough, NRB, his name is Garrett. He actually just started working at Machinewise, but another Balisong that is of a similar quality, albeit very different in certain ways, because I consider the Cracker Rackin' like the gold standard of Balisongs, but the Slift T is like, all of Machinewise knives are like kind of long, and it's a little blocky. The Slight is kind of the opposite, where it's actually very thin and pretty lightweight. This comes in at under 4 ounces, and so unfortunately right now you can't get one, but it clocks in at 400 for a live blade, which is the same as the Slift T. Where am I? And so that's pretty cool. Slift T live blade, without any of the bells and whistles. I also will say that another Balisong I recommend that is not really on a website is the Cygnus at a similar price point. This is $450 for the live blade, and this is a special scale, and these inserts don't come with it. But this is a sandwich titanium Balisong that is made from China that is really good for its price point. And some people would say that it should cost more, and I honestly agree that it should. But for a similar price point, that's what you can get. If you are looking for titanium for under 300, I don't actually know if there is a live titanium blade under 300. The Superfly by BB Barfly, I think, is a titanium Balisong trainer that's under 300, but it is also a bit of an oddball, and I have a whole video covering the Superfly if you're interested in that. But honestly, these are kind of my bigger recommendations. If you're trying to get back in and you don't really know the makers, the Squid Industries Kraken is really solid. Really, again, the gold standard of knives. I consider this like the default. It's like 4.3 ounces, and it's aluminum. It's got grip. It's got jimping. It's a live blade, but it also comes with a trainer version. But if you're looking for a titanium live blade or trainer, I think the Slift T V2 and the Slight you can't go wrong with. And the Cygnus, if you do want one, you have to wait for a drop through Instagram from LDY. Yeah, if you're American, you want to go to LDY_Will_Zhang for when eventually he does drops, but like you just have to set up mobile notifications, so it's just kind of a pain in the butt. And if there's other Balisongs that you were interested in, maybe you were looking at, oh yeah, also I forgot the Prisma Pro, which I mentioned earlier. If you want a trainer or a live blade even that is not the Kraken, the Prisma Pro is fantastic. It's really good. So aluminum, live blade or trainer, Kraken or Prisma Pro is kind of like my flat default recommendation. And a live blade, trainer, and like the higher titanium range, 300 to 400, to Slifty to Slight. And yeah, Balisongquiz.com is really helpful for helping find some things. You can, of course, just browse through Blade HQ. And yeah, maybe you're like, what is a good? Oh, the Thai channel Curat for 250 apparently has an 8 on tuning. A reason why I never recommend Atropos is because they have really bad tolerances, and so the tuning is a nightmare. But according to Will Hirsch, the Thai channel Curat is pretty good. So maybe that's worth looking at. I'm not sure. That's helpful, actually. And yeah, the Peon for 250. It's titanium for 250. That's crazy. That's really inexpensive. So that's some really good value. I've never flipped them, and I will say that MaxAce is spotty with availability, and also the quality of knives is not always good. And some people hate bearings, and some of them are bearings. So that's just something to be aware of. But anyways, I hope that you found that these recommendations were helpful, and check out my coffee if you found this helpful. Donate a couple bucks, subscribe. I have a bunch of unboxing and reviews for many knives because I do daily uploads, and that's just kind of my speed. So if you find these helpful, check out the rest of my channel content, and like this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any other knives that you recommend that you think are worth kind of upgrading at, if you're like, what should I get next? Let me know in the comments. I have a whole collection. Also, if you want to see my entire collection, I have a YouTube video dedicated to my entire collection, and I go through everything I have and why I have it. So yeah, check that out, and happy flipping. Have a great day, everyone.